All right, guys, welcome back to Scratch Golf Performance. We are in the office today, and we're going to go over day one of the 8-week golf strength and hypertrophy training cycle. Power movements, more basic hypertrophy movements. We're trying to build a base over these first couple of weeks. This program is going to be for anybody of any skill level, whether you've been working out for 20 years or this is your first time working out. These movements are going to be something that anybody of any fitness level can do. So without further ado, let's get after it. So this first movement here is called a deceleration off of a elevated surface. We're trying to teach ourselves how to absorb force. We can't apply force without learning how to decelerate force. This is mainly just to prevent injury. So this first movement is literally just a step down, and I'm holding that deceleration movement. So I'm trying to land in a quarter squat, trying to use my knees and my hips to absorb all of that force. On these, I just did 3 sets of 4, cycle through the other 2 movements that I'm about to show you. Keep it simple, stupid, and focus on maximum effort and maximum efficiency on plyometrics and deceleration. So this is like a banded, assisted high jump. This is a great way to train force production without the hard impacts and the fatigue of normal jumps. 3 sets of 10 of these, only because it doesn't require a lot of energy because I'm being assisted by the band. All right, this one is a explosive sit up to toss. I'm using that ball in between my shoulder blades as a leverage point, and I'm using my hips as a little bit of leverage to really get some power output on that ball. You can do this one without the ball. I like to do it with the ball just because I get a lot more force coming down. So I did 3 sets of 10 of these as well. So for that power output circuit, I did 3 sets. Again, 4 reps on the deceleration box jumps, 10 reps on the banded, we call them overspeed jumps, and then I did 3 sets of 10 on the explosive sit-up toss. So we really like to use circuit training to get work done while resting the body parts that need to be rested. So 3 rounds on that power circuit. So now we're going to move into our strength phase. Kind of the same thing. I'm training in circuits, 3 movements, and then I'm doing 3 rounds of all of the movements. This is going to be a squat focused day. We're going to go into the back squat. I have a whole nother video that I'm going to link below on the breakdown of the squat, but I'm doing 3 sets of 12 here. Again, I'm taking my time, making sure those thighs are getting down to parallel, and I'm driving up, keeping a good vertical spine alignment, keeping my heels on the ground. I'm not trying to train for very long. I'm trying to train for 45 minutes, maybe an hour, because I've got other stuff to do. Back squats or any compound lift are great at working multiple muscle groups at one time. And you can tell if you're going too or close to failure, this is where you're going to be. A lot of people don't get to this point at all. A lot of people, say they're going to failure, and they've got 5 or 6 reps in reserve, and that's why they're never seeing growth. All right, so this next movement is a seated hamstring curl. The seated hamstring curl is probably the best isolated movement for the hamstrings because you're in that 90-degree position with your hips, and then that's causing you to get a really good stretch on your hamstrings. If you don't have a seated leg curl machine, you can do a lying hamstring curl machine. Any type of hamstring variation you can do in conjunction with the back squat, but I'm working the hamstrings while giving my quads and my hips and my glutes rest from the back squat. So 3 sets of 12 on these. So this one I'm about to do is a banded hip flexor. This one's super easy to set up. Almost every gym has these types of bands. If you can see, I just hooked it up to the bottom of that bench, using the bar for stabilization, just driving that knee up. Notice how I've got good posture. I'm not letting my chest collapse. I'm keeping the toe up in front, bringing the knee up to hip height, and I'm getting a really big stretch at the back. This is a split squat with a TKE, or terminal knee extension. That terminal knee extension really targets the VMO, or that teardrop portion of the quad, and then the split squat obviously is a unilateral movement that's hitting the quads and the glutes. Combining these two made me want to cry. Notice how I'm going straight down, so my knees touching directly underneath me. I'm not shifting my weight forward, and on the way up, I'm squeezing that quad, squeezing that VMO, and locking it out. I did 10 on each side here, 3 rounds. Trust me, that one's going to burn. It's a good one to accessorize with your back squats. Another issue that I had was some patellar tendonitis. Could not figure out what it was. turns out my glutes weren't firing when I was doing multiple leg movements. So I worked a lot on hip abduction, trying to get those abductors and the glutes firing again. So now my knee pain is basically gone. Slight hinge in the hips, big step out, big step in. I feel it more on that back leg when it's coming in, and then on the way back I'll feel it on that other leg. But 10 each side. This one is another nasty one, a good little finisher in working the hamstrings, even though it's a quad and glute dominant day. This is just another movement to provide you with a little bit of rest and then kind of accessorize your workout. This is an eccentric slider, we'll call it a leg extension, but I'm keeping the weight through my heels and I'm slowly going out, and then I'm going to relax. I'm only working on the eccentric portion. It's really important you get fully extended here. If you don't have sliders or anything that can glide on the ground, you can just walk out. So like step your legs, slowly going out and then relax. But again, we're only focused on the out portion. Again, just working that posterior chain, really getting the hamstrings firing. Then that is a really good one to end on. All right, guys, so that is it for the first day in the 8-week golf training cycle. Did 3 rounds of each circuit. I did 3 circuits, and they're in that hypertrophy phase of training. Again, that hypertrophy phase is key for building muscle, and you have to get to or close to failure. Like if you're squatting and you don't think you can get the next one, that's close to failure. If you're squatting and you can't get it and you set it down on the safety racks, that's failure. That's the point of building muscle. But we've got to focus on the fundamentals in the power output section. We've got to focus on building a solid muscle foundation over the course of this 8-week cycle, because if we go into some strength reps or we go into some heavier lifts and you don't have that good foundation of hypertrophy, you have a risk of injury. So if you follow this program to the T, do the reps, do the sets, go close to failure, you should be gaining some muscle and you should be prepared for the movements that are coming later on in the cycle. So hope you guys enjoyed. Be on the lookout for day 2 of the 8-week training cycle, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.